Scotch lovers. How you doing?
It is Scotch for Dummies.
Tonight, we're going to combine two of my favorite things. Scotch and my love of history. So, I know you would think that those two things don't go together quite as well, but you'd be wrong.
What they do.
So, Scotch has a glorious history, and in 1907, Shackleton went to Antarctica to try and hit the actual South Pole and the magnetic South Pole. They set up a base camp, and what did they bring with them to keep warm? A bunch of Scotch.
Good stuff.
Insert the Scotch.
When they packed up and left their camp and sailed back after they didn't quite make it to the South Pole, they left behind the Scotch that they had that was extra.
How were they thinking?
Now but their loss is our gain because they left it in the ice where it was basically cryogenically frozen.
Cryogenically.
And in 2007, a group went back to just kind of check on things and see, what was left behind.
And look for the Scotch.
And they found some of the original Scotch still encased in the ice. So they brought 3 bottles back. And it's such precious stuff that they wouldn't allow it to be put in the hold of a plane. Somebody had to be with it at all times, like it's a newborn baby. Like
So
they had
glass
bottles. Yeah.
It wasn't in a barrel?
So they brought back
There's
3. That implies that they left some there.
So they brought there's
road trip.
Go.
There's the original bottles.
Wow, that's cool.
So I don't know if you guys can see that or not. They sent this handy booklet to fill us in on how all that stuff went down.
I dig it the most.
So basically, they brought the 3 bottles back, and they went through a ton of testing to figure out how the original Scotch was made, what's in it,
man?
And what they used for the original bottling, and they figured it out as near as they could. There was a couple of distilleries that weren't around anymore, so they had to go out and find a few things.
They cloned it.
This is a blended malt whiskey. So it is a blend of mostly Speyside and Highland Scotches. There's, I believe, a little bit of Jura in there as well.
Really?
Yeah. So it's got about 10 different Scotches in there. So this recreates, it may not be exactly what they had in the original bottling, but it recreates the flavor profile and most of the stuff about it. So really cool bottle. And it comes with a ton of historical stuff. They've got film negatives and all kinds of crazy stuff.
It's Shackleton's handwriting saying, you should buy this Scotch.
Yeah, they've got letters and a map of the expedition. So, it's a really cool bottle. And from a historical standpoint.
I'll try and throw some.
So if they left here and sailed all the way here before they even got to this, how did they even have any Scotch left?
That's my question. Right?
You're on a boat. What else are you going to do?
Right.
So, the nice thing about this Scotch to me is that a lot of, things that are that old, you might have tasting notes from it from somebody who lived in, 1920, but to actually be able to taste something, that has the same flavor profile that they were drinking, in the early 1900s or the late 1800s, to me that's really cool.
That's the thing. So liquor and just spirits in general have changed over the years. Used to be Boone's, family farms of Strawberry Hill was good, and but you have different alcohols go through different phases, and Scotch comes and goes, and whiskeys come and go, and vodkas come and go, but to actually recreate the flavor that was popular, 1907. That's really kind of cool.
I mean, this was good enough that Shackleton ordered, I forget how many cases he ordered. It was like 25 cases or something ridiculous of Scotch to go.
What did you say was in it?
On the expedition.
Of the blend?
I forget what, they had the main blend, the distillery was mothballed. And for the life of me, can't remember which one it was. But they filled in the remainder with Dalmore. So Dalmore and this other Scotch were the main components. And then they had Glenfarclas, and I don't know what all was in it. I mean, there's like 10 or 15 different.
Oh, it smells delicious.
So, yeah.
It's got a little bit of peat,
just
sweetness,
smoke.
It's just like blending. It's like balanced.
The balance in the nose is incredible.
It's not at all like you would expect something that had Highland and Speyside as their main
I get a peaty red velvet cake.
So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
47.3% alcohol.
That's awesome.
But there's no age on this, right? I mean, there's
Oh,
no.
it's delicious.
No, it's a blended.
It's a blend. There's no assumption of any age on it.
No.
So what they've done is, and maybe they didn't have.
It smells
maybe it was
wonderful.
young.
To me, whatever they've done to this Scotch is to recreate it as near as they can to the Scotch that they pulled out of the ice. I don't even know that it says, if it's got any E150 or anything like that in it. But to me, that's not the point of this Scotch. This Scotch is made to be as close to what they pulled out as the ice as they could get.
They like the smoke.
It's surprisingly
This is really
bold.
in my wheelhouse.
You know what I mean?
It is.
This is butter for me. So it's smoky. It's rich. There's some sweetness. It's got a lot of that sweet undertone is really nice. It's not like a sweet barbecue, but you get the smoke, and then the sweet kicks in. It's like, ooh,
I think I have some stuff to talk about in this one.
Yeah.
this is gonna be hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one might take another pour.
Not the way you think, my friend.
Next bottle's on you, brother.
I need another one.
It's got a little bit of like orange peel and
Man, I
This smells
love
this
the.
smells like a
I,
deep island.
honestly, I love the heated red velvet. That's a really
yeah,
good one.
because it's got the smoke and the sweet.
Chocolate.
But
Chocolate-
they're
even
almost
the taste
distinct.
has a little bit of dark chocolate going on.
One thing I will say about this, you can tell it's a blend. I mean, everything's very well balanced, and they did an excellent job. But to me, the flavors are a little bit more distinct than you would get from like an Isla.
Yes.
That started out smoky and acquired the sweet by sitting in a barrel for
Yes.
years, and the flavors melded. This has more like, here's the smoke, and then the smoke fades, and then you get the sweet, and it's a distinct profile.
Right.
You know
I
what I mean?
gotta get
Okay.
the flavor wheel out. This one is gonna be.
So initially,
Where to
to me,
begin?
the nose had that. Like I said, it was like you'd taken a red velvet cake and put it in the room when they were, putting
Putting out a fire.
right a peat fire. But after it sat for a while, that's kind of faded off, which is disappointing. But I understand what happens there. That the air's getting to it. It's going to open up. The taste. It's got the sweetness, like Andrew said. So there's the sweetness. You get that peatiness in there, and you get the sweetness. And when I say those two words together, Lagavulin comes to mind, Lagavulin 60. But it's not that at all. It's a very rich peat up front. You get that rich peatness, but then it's like it comes, it stops, and then it moves on to a different flavor. It doesn't. So in that sense, they don't blend so well. But the flavors are really good. I really like that nose. I hate to put water on it because
So I'm looking through the flavor. Are you?
I'm
Give a
ready.
number without any water.
I hate to put water on it. I only got a little sip left. All right,
You can pour a little.
go on.
So I'm going through the flavor wheel here, and smoked salmon is probably not a bad flavor to describe this. It's got that
I can see where you're coming
little
from.
sweet smoke. It just I don't know.
So-
I don't need to start.
I noticed that there was a line dripping down the bottle after it was poured, so I wiped it off my hands and I rubbed my hands together.
God.
And you know what it smelled like? I'm telling you, it smelled like I just got done eating barbecue ribs, sweet barbecue ribs. I was like, oh my gosh, that's the smell I got on my hands from it. That's not the smell I'm getting out of the dram or the taste that I'm getting, but
This is the delicious.
it puts you in the same. You know what I'm talking about? Where we're at? What
Did you put some water on it?
I just put water on it. I'm trying.
So,
I'll see what happens.
Who wants to start?
You
Before
start.
before we get going,
Me? I
Glen
poured.
Moore is the other base Scotch.
See, now
And it
that
was
brought more
demolished in
sweetness out.
1986.
That brought more sweetness
So-
out. I think the water opened up sweetness on it.
All right, somebody's got to start. I poured, so when you
I'll go. I'll
Have at it,
totally
brother
go.
man.
All right, so obviously it's a marketing ploy, right? I mean, other than the fact that it's a really cool deal, and they did include a lot of cool stuff. So if you're a history buff, it's a cool bottle to pick up just for that, right? It's got the straw wrapper for the bottle. I mean, it's a really neat, unique bottle. But it's got more going for it than that. I mean, we've had bottles that were just for marketing ploys,
Sure.
And at the end of the day, if it's not good Scotch, I'm not going to go buy another bottle. This I'd like to have another bottle of. It's got, I talked about the distinct flavor. You've got that smoke and then the sweet. To me, putting the water on it, everybody just came together. How you doing? You know what I mean?
Stole my thunder, man. You stole my thunder.
It's like a junior high dance. They're all standing on opposite sides thinking about it, and then they, meet in the middle. The water really brought everything together. The nose, I love the nose. Neat with water, didn't matter. This is a great glass. I love drinking this. I could finish this whole bottle, no problem. I'm going to give this a solid 3. I was teetering on 3.5. I think that without the water, it was just a little too distinct, but I think it's worthy of a 3.
All right, so I gave half the review earlier, and you already stole a little bit because I was talking about it before I put the water on it. Neat. I loved the initial nose. I love that smell. Kind of aired off a little bit. The neat palate, kind of separate taste. I love each taste, but they were separate. You nailed it. Put a couple drops on it. Didn't want to. It's a 47%. So, Keith, I know you're going to say, oh, don't put any water on that. But I did. And to me, all that water did was bring them together. Because now it just all blends. And the drink is so...
It brought out the malty flavor, too.
It did. And on the nose, the water just made it smell sweeter than all get out. I lost the peatiness. I lost that peat, smoky on the nose with water. But to me, the palate is so much better with water. And I'm not saying it was bad and neat. It was just a little separated. So I'm happy that I put the water on. I didn't want to, but I'm glad I did. Because of that water, I'm going to give it a 3. I was teetering between 2.5 and 3. I put the water on it, and I can't not give it a 3. I don't know what you say you paid for this.
That was
$1.20.
Yeah.
See, $1.20 hurts me because we could sit here and kill this bottle right now.
Oh,
I mean,
that
honestly,
would be a crying shame.
We could do it. I mean, I could drink it. It's just that easy to drink. It's enjoyable. I love
You're
it.
buying from the nostalgia.
I know, and that's what stinks about it. Dang it.
So I'm giving it a
3. I say we go find the other bottles, boys. I'm giving it a 3.
I think I may have found a Scotch that is my perfect Scotch.
Wow.
So this has a mix of smoke and sweetness that is almost unparalleled for me.
How much is he at?
Which wheelhouse are you in?
This is his wheelhouse.
So that's what I'm saying. So the nose is great and neat. I taste it. We add water. It doesn't matter. It's outstanding no matter what you do.
How?
It sits. I stopped drinking when he started talking, and I can still taste it. And it's still rich, and it's flavorful, and it's enjoyable. And, you say you could kill this bottle. It would take me a week to kill this bottle drinking it solid because I'd take a sip, and I could just sit there and enjoy the flavor for a long time. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
What?
That's our problem.
Because the price is high and probably the supply is limited, it's maybe not a 4, but it's a solid 3.5 for me. This is a great bottle.
Give it a 4 if it deserves a 4, man. I'm not gonna.
Nobody's
gonna knock you for it.
We don't give them out too often, so.
No, we don't.
It's got to happen sometimes.
So we can come back.
So let's see if I can find anything wrong with this. What can I find wrong with this Scotch?
Price.
Non-age statement, $120 bottle.
Those are 2 big ones.
That maybe.
If it wasn't for the history, forget the history. Just a bottle of Scotch.
Bottle of good Scotch. This is a great flavorful Scotch. You're right. So
there it is.
You can tell it's a little young. It like you said, when it's neat, the flavor is kind of. It doesn't just. So that's the only thing. But
3.5.
3.5.
3.5 it is. All right.
So here's the deal. I don't need to say anything more. You guys said enough. But I will say this. This bottle tells a story, and I want to jump on the ship, and I'm cruising with all you guys right now, and I can see why I took it with them, because this is something that you do with friends. It would warm you up in the cold, no problem. It's a great, beautiful smelling, tasting, long-lasting Scotch. I totally would say go grab a bottle if you can find it. 3 all day long for myself. Everything you guys said and then some. I mean, it's really delicious.
This kept his crew warm in like flannel shirts and leather boots in Antarctica.
Why? It's delicious.
So
it is a sip in the last 10 minutes. How do you do that?
It's good. It's tasty. I'm glad you picked it up. I mean,
It's not
marketing thing.
I like the water too.
I mean, you know, it is a marketing thing, but at the end of the day, it is a good glass of
It's a
scotch.
great
Amen.
glass of
There you go.
So I can't wait to hear everybody's comments on
35.
this.
Yeah.
Let us know what you
have
think.
to
'cause
try this.
I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there that are either thinking about it or have already tried it. I'd like to hear what they have
I
to
know
say.
there's a few out there.
I
that
know.
probably,
Somebody spotted it last time.
Yeah,
right.
so-
So
pretty
hear what
awesome.
they got to say.
So we're going to hear about
I'm
this
going
one.
35, baby.
3.
Yeah,
We
3.
got 3.
So, yeah.
3.1.
All right.
3.125.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Eat
Appreciate
that.
it.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.
Can't wait to hear what they got to say.
Mm.
Hey, Scotch lovers. Thanks for watching.
Join in the conversation.
More videos below.
The Pope Market subscribe.